Is that your mustache you framed there behind you?
Mustache frame. What?
Wait for Councilor McCormick to come back.
Oh, I can hear you. I'm just in the kitchen.
Of course. You can eat after. You can eat afterwards. I just had Subway.
You didn't bring enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Nice tie, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order in just a sec.
If I hear a toilet flush about, then about.
Tom, what I think of it, or Leslie, could we get a card and send it to Councilor Tompkins, Mike Tompkins?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, yeah. Mike Tompkins' wife passed away yesterday, so
Oh,
yeah, she'd been battling cancer. He used to work here at Dark, and then he was mayor of Annapolis, councilor there.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick thing on crosswalks and signage, which will get pushed over to committee afterwards, but I'll bring it up so I don't forget it.
Yeah, good. Okay, and what I'm going to bring up is really committee level, but flower box sponsors. Sidewalk flower box sponsors. Anything else? If not, can we have a motion to approve?
motion to approve.
Second.
Second, all those in favor of that, the agenda?
All right.
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 Okay. Just getting my PDFs organized here on the screen. Okay, minutes, there's no delegations or presentations tonight, so approve of the previous minutes. Everybody's had the chance to read through those, note any errors or deficiencies.
So moved.
So move. We have a second.
So second.
Third.
Councilor Sonier, all those in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Nay, nay. Yes, a fairly short agenda tonight. Jay, gotta slow down here. Terry Gilbert artwork from the previous minutes, but I see we have some correspondence too, don't we, from her? No,
Yeah.
yeah, we do. Do we want to discuss that when we get to that correspondence?
No, that is part of,
That
That's
is-
part of it? Okay,
yes, that correspondence is under the business horizon.
okay. Well, let's go to that correspondence. Let's just trying to find it. But anyway, that was discussed at committee of the whole, which I wasn't there, so I don't know the idiosyncrasies of what went on. So,
No, actually,
No.
at the last council meeting, that's why it's on this.
oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, wanting to know.
Yeah. Want to know whether we could make an in-kind or a financial contribution.
Hmm,
And one of the questions that council was asking was, were the owners of the building even aware of this project? And that has been answered, that yes, they are aware and are quite anxious about it, actually. One thing, I did do some research on the Levesque building, the artwork that was done on the
Brick.
yeah, so basically, council did contribute $1,000 to that project.
yeah. Yeah, the other thing, Councilor Turnbull could add anything to it, but I know murals and paintings are on it's a data There has been a data discussion too. Do you
They
recall
haven't
that?
done it. Yeah, I recall it, but they haven't done any.
Anything? Yeah. Okay. So what's council's thoughts on that?
Mine hasn't really changed. I think it's a private business, and if they want it painted, then they should probably paint it. That's just my opinion.
No, no, your opinion matters. Yeah.
I
Which
agree.
other-
We have submissions for artwork already that we put out, and we have sort of supported those.
Yeah. Nothing like this other than Dr. Levesque's back then, but that was sort of was it? I was gonna say a centennial project, but not a centennial project. Was it? I don't-
Remember. It was a mess. The building was a mess. I know that.
Yeah, it was one of the reasons why they did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else got thoughts on it? What kind of in-kind could we offer instead of a financial contribution?
Staging.
Yeah, Tom, you got thoughts?
The only thing that I caution, because it is private,
Mhm.
it is a private business, and they see the town, if, for instance, we say, well, the town crew can go and paint the side of the building, paint over the old one, so it's ready for a new canvas. And people, the general public say, well, they painted Richard Van Tassel's
Yeah.
side of his building, why don't they come paint mine?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the problem with in kind. I mean, if you make a financial contribution, that's something that you can open. It almost falls within the facade program that we don't
Have in place,
actually have in place. But
Yeah.
that's where it would sort of fit, beautifying the facade of the buildings.
Would it be like, my thoughts on it earlier, could we say we're looking at a facade program, but there's no guarantee? There's a number of community heritage culture grants out. There's a Canadian Legacy Grant that just come out for those type of projects, that maybe we could steer them in that direction.
I
Yeah.
don't
it's good.
remember seeing, I don't remember seeing a cost with the application or
No,
with the letter, so.
no.
I think it was like Tom said, I think it was, they wanted us to go in and paint over the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it.
But I do agree with CAO that we start getting involved in private property, we may be opening ourselves up to some discussion.
Yeah, you can paint the front of mine while you're at it.
Actually, I got a shed that needs work too. It's pretty close to Public Works. Just send them over.
See, there you go.
So I guess it's the feeling of council that's just something that we can get involved in. So we just advise her that, but maybe say, listen, there is a facade program being discussed. If it does get approved, whether it's this year or next year, you come back and talk to us about it, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
they don't discourage them, but
No,
No.
and look at some of these legacy grants. I'm just looking at one today for the Anglican Church. They need some work there around their Admiral Digby's bell and stuff, so. And they're not coming to the town. They just, we were just looking at the grant application for.
Well,
Okay,
I believe that Terry was gonna come to council tonight to make a presentation, but that was canceled, so because of being Zoom. and
Yeah.
Not in person.
She didn't.
So, I mean, I guess I can throw, you could, if you wanna her to come and give more details or anything like that, that's a possibility, but I'm just throwing that out.
She didn't give you any written submission, then, Tom?
The only thing is in the bottom, that email that's included.
Yeah.
is, just the sketch of what it's gonna look like.
Gotcha.
well, yeah, I guess to be fair to her, where she was going to come and it got canceled because of COVID, maybe we could just say, listen, come at a time when we're when the doors are open again. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, does that seem reasonable,
Mm,
everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
Okay. Well, okay, then moving on. The acting CAO report. Boy, did she act like one. You did a good job, Leslie, when Tom was away.
Thank you
But
very much.
welcome back, Tom.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add other than what I wrote in the report, but if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
No, you felt everything went well? Anything?
Did I feel like that or did Tom?
Well, Tom hasn't said anything to us, so.
How
Nope.
she made some decisions that were good, sound decisions,
Good.
especially surrounding the COVID and situation and closing the office and that. So she did, we did have one little chat, I think, concerning the COVID issue. And she said, this is what I want to do. So I said, go for it. So
For you. You, Leslie.
Can I just add something in her report, Bill 77?
Yeah.
So I called the legislative office just to sort of confirm about the proclamation. And so the act actually can be proclaimed at any time, so the House doesn't have to be sitting, because now it's an executive order or an executive decision to proclaim. And the other thing is I asked about, because we don't have our bylaw passed, and they recommend that we have our bylaws in place and passed before we ask for proclamation. Because if you do it the other way, proclamation, we would have an act that's in force, but we didn't have the regulations, which would be our bylaws, to move ahead with it. So I did have a discussion with Jeff Sunderland concerning this. And I know from his point of view, or his council's point of view, they're a little concerned about the timing of all of this with the COVID and shutdowns and all of that. But basically, we weren't expecting to be in the levy business until after April 2022.
Yeah.
So, we're sort of thinking that it would be a fall project to work on and then we could have it passed for over the winter and basically put the because we can put in our bylaw the effective date, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Because
Yeah, the optics.
each council has to pass the bylaw. There'll be identical bylaws. The only difference is one will say town of Digby, the other say the district of Digby. So that's the only difference in the bylaws.
Yeah. Yeah, even though it's not funds that are coming out of their pockets per se, the optics of it, why they're struggling right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. So let's give them one less thing to worry about till we're beyond this summer.
Yeah.
Well, we can always reframe the narrative on that too, where, push the positive side out of it, which is these dollars are going to be incredibly important in terms of getting folks back here once they're able to travel. So just as long as we've got a collective strong voice on letting them know what the benefit's going to be,
Yeah.
I think you can overcome any of the negative, especially where there's not going to be any immediate or direct cost to them.
Yeah. Yeah, you're hearing that throughout the province, really. We got to attract these people back and how we're going to do it. That's the messaging that I think everybody's saying. now. People are gonna be timid to travel,
Yep.
and now that we're seeing some cases that might slow them down from coming here too now, so it's unfortunate. So everybody agree that, Tom, their plan is looking at October? Kick off for the bylaw? Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? Acting CAO?
Happy to have the CAO back.
Oh, yeah. Good. Okay.
Even with the beard?
Even with beard,
Well, I expressed my comments with beard.
yeah.
That's our
Oh.
Stanley Cup beer.
Well, that's gonna be
Playoff
some,
run.
that's gonna be some long by the time they get the cup, so. Okay,
You mean the Montreal Canadiens, right?
exactly. Digby Area Recreation.
And the reports in your package, try to answer any
Yeah.
questions. I did send out to everybody the layout of the new community garden, which is going to be quite a
Impressive.
undertaking. And I
Mm.
want to thank Derek wants to thank the town and Ed and his work crew for all the help that they've done, because it's going to be a quite an impressive structure.
When's that gonna be available, up and running?
They're working on it now. They're just waiting for everything to come in. The last thing that's going to be coming in apparently is what was it? The last thing it was
Gazebo type thing.
gazebo. It was a gazebo. It was the last thing that was, that's back ordered. So, yeah.
And some of the wood was a problem today too. I was talking to
Yeah.
Sharon Peter
Yep.
and she's going down to Alexander's to get a lot of the wood
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So.
Don't say that in front of Counselor Sonia.
Well, I guess there's a shortage. Can't get it apparently.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Then if you
Yeah.
were to buy a two before today, I think Tim was saying the other day, if we were to buy them today, it would be $12 our cost.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
2x4.
Yeah.
Just a question for you. Someone asked me yesterday what the box rental was for the guard. I sent them to Derek, but do you know off the top of your head?
I don't.
$10.
It's
$10?
$10.
Yeah, I think it's only $10. Yeah.
Okay,
Per month or the season?
Season.
okay. I'll let, I'm sure, they probably contacted Derek. But we'll put it there.
Yeah.
Mayor and Counselor Barbecue, well, we know that'll be up in the air. And
Yeah.
we didn't have that last year, so.
If it gets to the point where we could do a drive-through barbecue, could you entertain it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, interesting. Just drive up, we hand them the burger
Sure.
in the pot.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, could do it. Yeah, and right now, well, this last 2 weeks, it's 5, but prior to this lockdown, it was 150 people social distancing, so you could kind of have them lined up and go.
Yeah.
But we would be responsible for policing it, but yeah, drive-through, that's an idea. Let's keep that in the back of our mind.
Yeah, you could drive that down through Maiden Lane too, actually. We could do it still right there in the parking lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, you could set up right on the edge of the road with the barbecue.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good idea. Keep that back in mind, Peter.
Sure.
Committee of the whole report. There were a couple motions. Just find them here. Just getting used to this.
Dangerous and unsightly premises and hours of work.
Hours of work. So I want to put that motion, the first one on the floor for discussion?
Yeah, I'll move that the administration policy 2021-03 dangerous and unsightly premises policy as presented be approved.
Seconder,
I'll second that.
Okay.
any discussions or comments on it since we discussed it last meeting? None? Everybody's happy with that?
Yeah.
Good, good. So all those in favor of that, say
Aye.
aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carried. Amendments to the HR policy. Hours of work is presented. So I'd like to put that forward.
I'd like to make a motion, we pass that.
Yeah.
Amend to the HR policy 2014-05, hours of work as presented.
Okay. Seconder,
I'll second it.
any discussion on it? So that's changing that to 60 hours a week work?
Yep.
Yep, there goes CO's agreeing with me.
60 to 80, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Well, we'll give them 80 and then we'll cut it to 60 and we'll all feel good. All those in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None. Motion carried. Moving on. Now, this is like a summertime meeting here with this. Creative Productions correspondence. Got a letter here from
Tiffany?
Tiffany or, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a great idea for the kids.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, great idea.
yeah. Anybody have any? I thought it was a great idea too. Allows them to do it. It colors it up, makes it look pretty instead of it just.
Yep.
Any
Yeah.
concerns, Tom, from staff or anything?
I haven't heard any.
Yep.
I can ask the acting CAO. If she heard any while I was away, but
No, I
Yeah.
didn't hear anything.
I'm assuming that's our building.
Yeah, I would think it's our building and we would probably, I would move that we pay for the paint.
It
Well, I
would be.
think it was, I thought she was gonna try to have that donated. It
Yeah,
was
she
all-
was. in
All
her
she was looking for
correspondence.
was a gift to pizza
Prize.
party or
Prize.
prize or
Yeah.
something like that. So,
Prize
Yeah.
for the draw.
Yeah, well, let's ask her, she's saying she's gonna approach a donor, so let's
Yeah, let her go with
let
that.
her
for now.
let her go with that first. And,
Yeah.
because the people that donate might, they might be very happy to be involved in something like that also.
yeah.
All right.
He
Yeah,
was looking for the town or Dark to donate a pizza prize or a summer pool pass.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I'm sure Derek will do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Summer pass or, yeah. I'll bring it up or Mike can bring it up at the next meeting. So,
Yeah, we'll put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
good, good. Okay, do you want to, Tom, would you like a motion for that or just give her direction on that? Would you feel comfortable just,
I,
yeah, it's not,
at this point, we don't know whether it's gonna cost us any dollars at this
Yeah.
point. So direction is fine that we give her the go ahead. If there's a request for any amount of funding,
Mhm.
can bring it back at that time and get council to approve. Because basically, we are in the, what I'll call the twilight zone, because we do not have an approved budget. We
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
1 month into the new fiscal year and we don't have, and that's another thing that I forgot, and I'll have for the June meeting is a motion to give authority to spend a percentage of last year's budget this year until the approved budget comes out. So,
yeah, hopefully we'll have a budget soon too, so. Yeah.
Just one thing I just thought of, and I can't get back up to the top of the page. What's the date on that? Because there's no school now, right?
For Tiffany's letter?
Yeah,
that April
April
23rd,
23rd.
yeah. So we weren't closed down then, so
No. But that's an outside project. That's the beauty of it. Could still go ahead.
yeah.
if they let them do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the schools are funny about letting the kids do stuff when they're not in school.
Yeah.
basically, all they're gonna do is create some designs,
Hmm.
right?
Oh, okay.
They're
Yeah.
not gonna do that. Tiffany is the one that's gonna actually do the painting. when the
Painting.
design gets
Yeah.
approved.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, the kids are gonna, much like they did for the banners downtown, They,
Yeah.
Okay,
they went to the schools, but I'm sure that most of the kids done it at home and brought it in and submitted it, right?
right, yeah,
So this would be the same idea.
yeah,
Mhm.
perfect.
And when they're submitted for proposals, just strike a committee of a couple, like maybe a staff and a counselor or something to look at them, or 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And choose what you think is appropriate. Yeah. Nope, it looks, it looked good because you drive around the countryside, you see those 4x4 round buildings look pretty sad sometimes, so
Yeah.
there's nothing but improve. Yeah. Okay, letter from Digby Area Recreation. And that's just an update, Peter?
Yeah.
Can
All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
basically they did this, what was suggested by Councilor Sonier, but the drive-through, that's what was in
Yeah.
this is a suggestion. Because
Yeah.
last year they had to send that grant money back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because it got canceled, this year they don't want to do that. They want to wait until we get, they want to try to spend the money, so, I think they just want to find out whether council would be willing to entertain something different than the traditional barbecue. So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think we should just kind of start loosening things up a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
People, I think, are more stressed this time than they were last March or April.
Well, there's more cases around.
Yeah, and they're around us now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, letter from Municipal Affairs. Yeah, this is for all those that are new, they always have to give a year's notice. On any time they make a change that could affect us. Tom, did you see anything that stood out here that might cause us grief? Especially around that environmental piece, but
yeah, that, the Department of the Environment, under that section, and about the Coastal Protection Act. So basically, there's gonna be a lot of restrictions put on building in coastal areas. And, yeah, we all know that Digby is a coastal area, and I guess basically what it's gonna cost, that is we may have to have a designated professional, and they have to determine what that is. So when the regulations come out, that's where the dollars and cents is gonna hit us, because basically in-house right now, in order to issue a development permit, I issue development permits, but under the Coastal Act, if it's within whatever that setback is from a shore or a coastline, then basically somebody's got to assess it and make sure that the regulations are met before somebody can actually even approve the permit.
yeah,
So we are talking about, and we don't know what type of professional that is yet, and until the regulations come out. So it's just, it is gonna be an additional burden and cost to the taxpayer, to the town.
Yeah.
And it could be detrimental to development in town as well. Depending on,
yeah. I'm not sure how many water lots we have, but we're probably going to be looking at setbacks further away.
Yep.
And all kinds of things, yeah. Because coastal action was right now is one of our top priorities. I've emailed the Coastal Action Strategy Group. I forget the exact name, invited them to come and speak to us. Now, of course, COVID's may slow that down, but I emailed them last week. And there's a group that will come and speak to us about what's going to be happening. And exactly what Tom talked about, what we should be looking at, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're gonna. Mhm.
Under the Department of Justice, the biological casework analysis agreement,
Yeah,
that that's gonna be determined based on our total uniform assessment, so the costs are gonna go up on that as well, but it is based on our total uniform assessment, so.
Yeah.
It's not as arbitrary as a lot of other fees that they set.
yeah,
The RCMP labor relations regime, I mean, they're still going on trying to settle some of the labor issues. And they, at this time, they cannot identify the implications, but they are committed to keep municipalities informed as the negotiations unfold. They're just giving us a heads up that, that is up. And by the way, we did get for this year, I think it's 4.9% increase to our RCMP costs for this coming year, which is
I thought it was almost five, or just over 5.
now it was
you're 7.
4.92%. So it's
Oh.
getting close to 5%.
That's good.
Our allotment works out to be $906,989.
Mhm.
That's what our policing costs will be for 21-22.
Geez, Leslie, you let that go by while you were that week?
Yeah, you spent a lot of money.
Geez,
Hmm.
Leslie, how
We
did you do that?
We have no control over it. We get a letter in the mail.
Yeah.
You
and
could have
there's-
sent it
Have a
back.
shredder?
You could have sent it
Refuse
back.
to accept it, Leslie. That's what you're supposed to do.
Return to sender.
Yeah, and the RCMP are still talking about unionizing, so that is
Yeah,
going to lead to
that's
more
good.
costs.
Yeah. Tom,
Uh,
what about the Accessibility Act? Is that, I mean, there's gonna have to be some money there somewhere spent on whatever improvements have to be made if there's a standard set.
Yeah. And like, again, this one, because there's not a lot of unknowns at this
Yeah.
point, but at the minimum, they will give us a 1-year notice of any policy regulation change that will impact our revenue and expenses when it comes to the Accessibility Act. I mean, it's no secret, the Accessibility Act is pretty aggressive and optimistic, I would say, and that it's gonna cost money. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and the library funding, so basically, there was no mandatory increase as was scheduled, but they didn't give us our year's notice last year. So basically, they had to put it off a year. However, the municipalities can elect to implement their new funding contributions to libraries this year as outlined in the funding model, should they wish to do so. So that leads us back to the letter that we received from Aaron from the library asking us for the new funding, increase in new funding.
Yeah, I had this, I've only got pointed to library board last year, and all these conversations were prior to me getting on the board. So I met with the former warden of the municipality who led this funding model. He was the chair of this working group along with a couple CAOs and a couple other elected officials. So it was a surprise to me to see it, but this was all done over a year ago. And like Tom said, they didn't send us the letter notifying us. So it led to a lot of conversations over the last month or two about the funding arrangement. But does it seem reasonable that we wait and see what our budget looks like for this year? We do have the option. Look at the funding. Yeah,
Why spend money if we don't have to?
yeah. It's a library, we have to have a library.
Oh, yeah.
It's important, yeah, in the community, but let's look at our budget maybe before we know we're gonna have to do it, but.
Yep.
We, yeah.
Yeah.
If we-
Is this,
well,
this funding is for the regional library. And then we have our own individual, like we have the Digby Library that we share with the municipality on. The operating cost of that is a different thing. And, we do have some control over those costs, but our rent is pretty well set because that's a provincial building that we're renting with an agreement with the province. So that's pretty much set. But I just wanted, I guess my point is to make people understand that there's two streams of library funding, one directly to the regional board, and then there's one for our own branch, the operations of our own branch. So that's all I want to point out.
Yes. Okay, so I guess you've heard that we'll look at it as it comes up during budget time, so. Lost my agenda here. So I think I don't have my agenda in front of me. I closed it up. I think it's DRHS now, is not?
Graduation, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, last year, people were aware, I think most, they had a parade down through town. We paid some of the cost of that because it was so sudden and I guess somewhat of a surprise that they weren't going to be able to have a graduation. So here they're just looking for support and
I think this came up last meeting,
Yeah.
me the whole, and I think we were waiting for them to submit a COVID plan, weren't we, Tom?
Now, see, this one comes from one of the students themselves.
That's
The
right.
other one came from, I think, a parent or something that was trying to organize. So there is two things going. Am I right, Leslie?
So after committee of the whole, I sent correspondence to both of those requests that came. One was for the DRHS graduation, one was for the Ocean View Dance Academy. And I asked them, if you perceive this moving forward, we're going to need some kind of, plan or how you're going to implement this safely. And this is what I got back from the email that I sent to the DRHS prom folks, which was Tanya Mahar at the time. But this is what I got back. So that's why I brought it here, because the event is supposed to happen or perceived to be happening early May, I think. So I figured if we waited till committee of the whole, it was cutting it kind of short for them to plan. So that's why I added it to this agenda today.
yeah. And this letter came in before the shutdown last week, did it not, or last week?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, so depending on the extension, it's 5 people.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
It's
so
kind of
I,
pointless.
this is pointless right now. Yeah, as Paul says, it's pointless right now. You can't do anything. So maybe right back and say we have to see what the new COVID.
Oh, I'd say just going back to Leslie's concern over the time constraint, it might be better to make a decision on if they're able to do it, that we say we, allow it or not. So that way, if they find out the week before, we may not have an opportunity to meet and discuss it after restrictions are lifted. Even if it gets pushed to early June, there's a chance we still won't be able to have a full discussion until then. So I know it's sort of theoretical, but might be better in terms of the potential timelines for what they're looking to do.
Mhm. Very similar to what they did last year, but the restrictions weren't as tight as last year.
Could we table this to committee of the whole? That would be closer to the day. See what the restrictions are then.
That's what's
yeah, 'cause it's supposed to change the 12th. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
That'll be the 17th.
The only, the only issue with committee of the whole is that it is a committee.
Yeah.
And if it needs council's
Approval.
direction, unless you're prepared to have a special council meeting following the committee of the whole meeting to enter,
Which
and
is-
we have done that before, to entertain.
One way to do it if we have to spend money.
Yeah, and so most of this, I don't know if it's really a council thing, Tom, other than you regards to the sidewalks and streets, but if we need to spend money, then we can call a special meeting quickly.
So basically, I'm gonna see whether what I heard is correct. That basically, if COVID restrictions will allow it to happen, then we don't have a real issue with it happening. Is that, to sum it up, is that basically what we're saying?
Yeah, if they follow public health guidelines,
Yeah.
yeah, then we don't really have grounds for saying no if they have a COVID plan that's approved. The public health guidelines. The state of emergency is up on until the 16th of May. That's probably going to be extended. So,
yeah.
yeah. So,
I'd still like to see the COVID plan of some sort. Just to, I don't know if we can get fined or not, but it'd be nice to have a plan for what they have in mind to control it.
yeah, they
90
could do that.
Yeah, there's 93 students, they said.
Mhm.
Boyfriend, girlfriend, parents, that's a lot of people downtown.
Yeah, you could be up to 150 like pretty quick.
Oh, 200 right there with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And right now it can't be 150. So
yeah.
there's no. Yeah, ask them to submit something. I'm quite sure the school still wants. This is students from the high school. I'm sure the high school is going to have some say in this.
Yeah, you would think.
I guess we have to be careful that we've seen it in a lot of places where kids just are not listening, and they end up on the street with
Yeah.
a bunch of people where they shouldn't be there, and the police are there and start issuing fines. We don't want to be promoting that any way, shape, or form.
No, that's what the premier said today. The premier was quite blunt today.
You look pretty
If any of us-
exasperated.
Yeah, anybody that watched the update today, he's updating. Yeah, so ask him, Tom, if for a COVID plan.
Um,
Uh,
A COVID plan on whatever regulations may or may not be in place at the
well,
time.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, because they could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
If I was a betting man, I'd say there's gonna be an extension.
Oh yeah.
Probably
Okay.
more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, so maybe the committee of the whole or earlier if we have to call a special meeting. We can do it by Zoom quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Digby
Good.
General Hospital.
Digby General Hospital parking.
This was me. This was based on my observation because I had to go to the Kentville Hospital. In a period of this 2 weeks that we're under right now, where people are out of work and businesses are closed and they're not making any money, our hospital has not only continued to charge for parking, but they have installed a brand new electronic system of paying in the lobby before you get to your car. When at the same time, in the same time frame, I went to the Valley Regional Hospital and did not have to pay 1 cent for parking. And
Yep.
my question to council is, would you be willing to send a letter on our part and our part of our citizens to ask why we're being treated as a second-tiered citizen and being made to pay for parking?
A couple comments with that. One is a different health authority, so.
Yeah.
In Napa Valley, but the other thing is I have a meeting, our bi-monthly meeting at the hospital, well, it'll be by Zoom, next Wednesday night. So the site administrator and Yarmouth will be in that meeting, so I can certainly bring it up.
Sure.
I've never agreed with them charging for parking anyway. I understood
No.
why at the VG where you're surrounded by apartment houses and stuff. But
Yep.
in a rural hospital,
And even
No.
Digby makes no sense of all of them because there's a huge mall parking lot beside it anyway. So
and,
it's a
and
moot
most,
point.
and most of those cars you see sitting in the front of the hospital are staff.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
They said for the staff to park out front there, so.
Yeah.
Could do a letter or I can bring it up next Wednesday night at the Zoom meeting, because I have an issue with it too. And like Counselor Sony said, I went to Kempville Hospital, drove in, drove out, gate was up. Yeah,
Even Middleton, at least one day a week in Middleton, there's no charge. Fridays usually is no charge.
no charge, yeah.
And they waived the ambulance fees today too.
For COVID people, yes.
Really?
Yeah,
Including us or not, Mike?
yes.
EHS, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's-
EHS,
If you're COVID, you've got to be going to the hospital, they'll waive fees.
yeah.
Some people couldn't afford, found that they weren't going because they couldn't afford the ambulance fees, so.
They waived them, yeah,
So I think they could afford to waive $4 parking once in a while.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, I'll bring it up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll bring it up to him. Yeah. Boy, new business. We're moving along here tonight, Jay. Sidewalks. Is that you, Counselor McCormick?
Crosswalks.
Crosswalks, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
all-
Yeah, I had somebody who reached out about the crosswalk at King and Warwick. Asking if that would be a spot that we're gonna be looking at putting up one of the flashing things there. They consider it to be a semi-blind spot, either, I don't know, coming up or down the hill, and I just wanted to bring it up to the Public Works folks to put it on their radar. But I'm fairly certain, I believe what Edward had said before was they're looking at doing a few every year, but just, I wanted to bring it up because it was brought to my attention by someone in the community.
Yeah.
And that would be fine to discuss at committee of the whole. It doesn't have to be discussed tonight.
The CEO might have some ideas on it in regards to planning, so.
I think the long-term plan is to come down and every crosswalk in Warwick will be done.
Okay,
We did skip the King and Warwick one and opted to go down to the Queen for the Go store because that seemed to be a busier crosswalk.
Yeah.
There was more people using that particular crosswalk. So that's why we sort of skipped that one. So if there's funding in the budget, capital budget for Saudi's King and Warwick will be done, and probably the next one will be the one on Montague Road, the weird one from the old Irving across. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so that'll be the next one, because the plan is to sort of do our big loop. So somewhat, we started on Victoria, we've got all of Victoria done now, and we started down Warwick. And then once we get down to Montague, we'll come up Montague and take straight through Water Street. So that's the long-term plan, and we usually try to do 2 a year, right?
okay,
While we're talking about public safety, I called the staff sergeant last week to talk about speeding downtown late at night and concerns about particular houses that seem to have a lot of retail traffic coming in and out of them. And yeah, and they were going to step it up downtown in the evenings. They were going to assign some patrol cars downtown because there's racing. If you go downtown 9, 10 o'clock at night, they're racing up down the street. And he said, rest assured that you're going to see some action sooner than later in regards to a couple properties here that maybe are operating under the business license. So,
Yeah, I had a concern also with, I had a complaint about the racing. And one has been taken care of because it was a member of a fire department and the fire department took care of it. he's no longer a member of that fire department.
Is that just recently?
That's just happened on Tuesday night.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it was a gray car,
Yeah.
license plate. Yeah, that's the one. So,
yeah. I had to get out of the way of that car coming down Church Street Hill.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So that has been taken care of, that one.
great.
When we're talking about safety, I have on 2 occasions almost had a head-on collision where the one-way part of Prince William Street, cars were coming up that hill.
Hmm.
I wondered if for many, many years that was painted one way, very visibly, and it hasn't been for quite some time. I wonder if we could get that
I'm
repainted.
not I'm not
There's a
laughing
reason
at-
for that.
Yeah,
I'm not
Okay.
laughing at your comment, Counselor Sony, but Tom and I, well, probably
everybody.
Peter and Mike, we went to a UNSM, our FSM meeting,
Yes.
and they were talking about, I don't know, street safety signage, etc. They had a picture of that street unbeknownst to us. We're sitting in the room with 300 people saying, this is not how to do it. Yeah,
How else are you supposed to do it? It's marked clearly and people are still ignoring the signs.
I know.
How do you fix the boulevard downtown where people, I mean, on a daily basis, you see people turn the wrong way on that one-way street on both sides. I've seen the bus have to stop and wait for them to back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do, but it's marked wrong way. I don't know if we could maybe someday find the budget has some flashing lights there or something or what.
Yeah.
but They said, no, don't paint on the road. They plastered that picture right in front of us.
And yet it was effective.
Yeah, well, yes, I guess,
The
yeah.
attention of 300 people.
That is true. Anyway, but yeah, I could look at it, bring it up committee of the whole, and maybe Tom and Ed can have a conversation about it, see how to improve it, but they do go up it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, it is tempting, you know. It's tempting to keep it on going, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Anyway,
I don't know that, one of the main reasons why they don't want you to, of course, is that, you know, in the wintertime, paint on the pavement, you can't see it when it's covered in snow, so that's one of the reasons that they give for not doing it, but then, you know, why do we line paint? 'Cause
I
it's
guess-
the same reasons, right?
Yeah.
Well,
We-
you know.
People
it-
can't
it-
follow
that
arrows at the
was a
grocery
weak-
store.
weak argument, but anyway, like I said, it was kind of embarrassing to sit in
Hmm.
that room full of people and we weren't too happy about people knowing where we were from after that.
But was
And
there
I
any,
wonder
was
how
there
many
any
people thought it was-
constructive?
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry,
Oops.
Mike, go ahead.
And I wonder how many municipalities do it now, because they probably thought it was a good idea.
Well, that's fine, but was there any constructive suggestion as what to do with it? That's the correct way?
Well, basically, the correct way is the way we have it now. We're supposed to have it just signage, have one-way signs on the posts, and then also have the wrong way. So, I mean, it's the exact same thing as how they have the ramps on the 101 or in any of the 100 series highways, right?
Yeah.
Your exits and your on ramps. And occasionally you'll see people go up the wrong way up an exit ramp. And, you know, I've seen some close calls there too, because,
Yeah.
you know, because people just don't see the signs or they don't pay attention to those
Yeah.
signs. And I think that's the thing. There's too much distraction in driving today, so.
Yeah, so one-way streets downtown, you see just as many people pulling a U-turn where they shouldn't be there too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen, looking out the window here and somebody pulled a U right on Water Street here by the intersection in front of the cenotaph.
I got sent a photograph this week of a transport truck in front of the Bank of Nova Scotia, parked on the wrong side of the road, facing the wrong way, blocking an intersection and blocking a handicap spot.
Yep.
Bruce was on his
Yeah.
way down when they pulled away, so he
Oh,
didn't notice
he
it.
missed them.
And he was en route down, and just as he was going out the door, they pulled away, so.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's hard, well, you have to be everywhere and you can't be everywhere, but that was terrible there.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the agenda, I added this, just same thing committee, but it was, I had talked to the Director of Public Works Friday, ran into him, just wondered about the flowers. He said he's ordered them. Just last week, I was approached by two people. One was an individual, one was a business, saying they would be interested in sponsoring and taking care of a flower box.
One.
Yeah, downtown. So I don't know if that's something we could put a plan out there. I said, what would you want in return? And they said, well, we could put a little 5x7 sign in or something, because you don't want a big gaudy sign, but a little 5x7 sign sponsored by Quiznos or something like that. Try not to say a business in here, but it's a thought, Tommy, if you want to talk to the Director of Public Works and see if they're interested, maybe you get a few sponsors. That would, once the plants are in, or they would pay, or they would take care of them for the summer, but probably not likely we'd get one for every one of them in town, because there's quite a few of them. People don't realize how many flower boxes there are,
Yeah.
but there's quite a few. But maybe have that, maybe think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, put it there, yeah. It
Are they
could
all
say,
in the downtown core?
no, there's Loyalist Cemetery, yeah, pretty well, Loyalist Cemetery and there, and I used to water them all, but I think that's the furthest one away. Most of them are downtown. Yep. Well, folks, that's all we have tonight. Short meeting. This feels like a middle of July meeting.
Hmm.
You look happy, counselors. Well, I guess if there's no in-camera session, so that's it. I guess everybody go home.
Have a good week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Paul wearing his pajamas and we're not sure
Yes.
what Will's wearing.
Dress shirt.
Dress shirt, good. Okay, motion to adjourn,
So
So
moved.
moved. Second, third.
Second.
second. All those in favor is going?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Yep. Good night, all.
Have a good week, everybody.
Night.
Yep.
Bye.